Good morning. My name is Tammy Eisenreich, and I'm a parent partner for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And this morning on Friday, October 28th, I have Bailey Pratt with me from the Jiselle Lauren Foundation. He was happy to squeeze me in this week, and we'd love to share a little bit about your organization. So welcome.
Thank you for having me, Tammy. Looking forward to chatting with you about our foundation today.
Good. Well, we're going to start with the wonderful video that you guys have made about your mission, and then we'll go from there.
My hope and vision for the future of the Jiselle Lauren Foundation is to be able to say that we are doing great work like we are doing, but have it on a bigger scale and make even a bigger impact in the community and to the families of kiddos who have special needs. We've done some great work so far, and I just want to be able to continue that journey and continue to have an impact in the community and to families, and but grow it like so much that we're a well-known name in the community and it's an easy organization for someone to support. And all any parent wants is their kids to be successful. So if we're able to financially help somebody be able to do that, then that's the whole goal of what we do here at the Jiselle Lauren Foundation.
The Jiselle Lauren Foundation means one thing simply to me, which is making the special needs community's life a little bit easier. I can't begin to tell you how hard it is to be a special needs father and a special needs family. And we are very fortunate to have great resources to help Jiselle maximize her life. And we know that's not the case for everybody. And so to me, the foundation is about helping, if it's just one family or one organization, it's about making their life just a little bit easier. Because if we do that, then we've done something really special.
At the end of the day, all they want to do is love their child and give them the best quality of life that they can. And the Jiselle Lauren Foundation really is here to help them with their financial burdens. And that is just something that is such a blessing to these families, because it gives them the opportunity to focus on what's important, and that's taking care of these sweet children.
I first really got involved when Bailey had the idea to start a golf tournament, which wasn't too hard to get involved in. It was a great idea, and it was a really successful first year, and then we've had successful years after, and really just recognize the ability for, just a silly event like a golf tournament to really spread awareness and education around, the specific, challenge here with Jiselle, and then the foundation and the capabilities that we're able to do by raising some money and, again, spreading awareness, education, helping multiple families each year that are in a similar position. And looking forward to years to come where we really think this foundation has some special opportunities to develop into more goodwill, specifically locally with schools and playgrounds and other things that disabled children really rely on and need, and their families.
My name is Sarah, and my daughter Zoe does occupational therapy at Raining Hope Therapy Services in Colorado. We were able to start doing OT here because of a grant from the Jiselle Lauren Foundation. They had given us a grant to do adaptive writing, and because we saw the benefits of that, we were able to switch our occupational therapy to Raining Hope. And we love it here. Due to the Jiselle Lauren Foundation and receiving that grant, Zoe's walking has improved. We were able to try a therapy that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, and it's been incredibly successful, and we are so appreciative to the Jiselle Lauren Foundation and everything that they do.
The Jiselle Lauren Foundation funded my daughter Blake's horse therapy in 2020 and 2021. This was so helpful to us as a family for Blake to be able to participate in a non-traditional therapy that is so important for her health and well-being and development, but traditionally is not paid for by insurance. because it's not a regular, more medical-based therapy. It's been a really great therapy for Blake to participate in. It's something that she really loves and looks forward to every week, and that we love and look forward to every week. So we're so grateful that the Jiselle Lauren Foundation helped fund that therapy for her.
This is Louisa. Say hi. Yes. We are so thankful to the grant from the Jiselle Lauren Foundation. Louisa has had 3 surgeries since she was born, and it really helped me to be able to be in the hospital with her and focus on her recovery, and we are so grateful. Say bye.
The Jiselle Lauren Foundation is not only a vital part to our special needs community, but it is also a blessing for providing families with assistance in getting medical equipment that is often unobtainable. For our family, the Jiselle Lauren Grant purchased our daughter a communication device called a Toby, which allows her to communicate with her family and friends. In addition to our Toby, we were also able to get our daughter an adaptable bike, which has provided our family with an enjoyable, fun activity we can all do together. I am thankful and forever grateful for the kindness and support the Jiselle Lauren Foundation has shown our family.
When you go back and start to reflect on what we've been able to do since we started in 2019, I think, to me, the word that comes to mind is just amazing. So in the last 2 quarters of 2020, which was about 1.5 years into when we started this organization, we were able to grant out almost $40,000 to 12 families in one organization. We even helped a little girl in India be able to get the very first eye gaze device there, which was huge. And this little girl had Rett syndrome, and you know, as a mom with a little one who has Rett syndrome, knowing the importance of an eye gaze device, it was pretty special to be able to give that family the gift of communication for their daughter, because you know it's all up in there, but the struggle is getting it out, and we were able to help raise funds to give that gift to her. The word amazing still comes to mind because we've been able to, thus far in our journey, give out over $115,000 to 34 families and 4 organizations. You know, we have it in our mission to help Rett syndrome organizations continue to thrive so that they can help support parents like us. I think without them, we wouldn't be as comfortable on our journey without those resources. And so within that $115,000 and those numbers, we were able to help 3 Rett syndrome organizations with probably over $20,000 in, a year and a half. So all of that to me and to Bailey is such a huge accomplishment and far exceeds any expectation we had for ourselves back in February of 2019.
This year, I want to see less no's and more yeses, and us being able to fund more grants. And in order to do that, we really need help. It doesn't have to be something huge. It can be something small that makes a big difference. I hope that we can do more events and impact more children and be more a part of the community, helping these kids live their best life.
That's lovely. Oops. Let's see here. So, well, I thought maybe we'd start with the grant to kind of look at it, because I have some questions, but I want to, or unless you would like to jump in. Usually the grant is where I like to go, and then at the end, I'd love to share how families can help your organization. Every organization fundraises and raises their money different ways. So does that sound okay?
Yeah, we can go wherever you'd like, Tammy. No problem.
Okay. Well, this is the website, very beautifully laid out, pretty easy, self-explanatory. It has, you really show your other families. And I think that's one of the things I try to help families with is their story. They never know what to share, how much to share. And I try to explain to them, maybe if you were sitting down for coffee with the organization, what would you share? How is this particular therapy piece of equipment so instrumental in possibly helping your child and your whole family, and really trying to get them to open up? Because I try to let them know that's how you guys, in a sense, score your applications, to know, and you guys share those stories. So one of the first things I tell families to do is creep out your funding organization, and yours is very easy to maneuver around. It's your mission is right there, and then the application. So that's why I thought we'd take a peek at that. And it is all online now, correct? You don't take any mailed applications any longer?
It is. We have a team of about 3, which is my wife and 1 volunteer and myself. So really the best way to get your application in, and really the only way, is through this online process. So it just allows us to capture as much information as kind of reasonably as possible for us to, as you said, score. It's not exactly, we don't have a defined process like you said in some of your other organizations where it's very straightforward that if you're this, and this, you don't get it. I love your analogy of, provide it enough information to allow us to imagine when we were meeting over coffee and you were telling your story, right? We have a limited amount of funds. We're a small organization, and we're just trying to figure out how to put those to the best use and help the most people. So telling your story like we're over coffee on this online process is a great way to describe what we would love to see.
Good. Applicant name, is that the parent or the child?
I think that's just and you're gonna ask me a question. I'm not sure I'm sure it's the parent's name.
I would assume that because of the email. I don't think
the parent's name, but it doesn't hurt to put the child as well. I don't know if there's another spot for the child's name. I don't know.
We'll take a look. We have.
Yeah, I may learn more about our process than I knew before. So, yeah.
No worries. So the name of the organization, that would be who you're paying the funding to, correct?
Yes, if they so we do allow organizations, special needs organizations to apply. So if there was, organization that needed funding, a grant, we do allow that. We didn't always happen, and then poor person. So maybe that's where we get better place to put, parent name up top, and then put it for Jiselle, my example, it's for our daughter Jiselle.
Do you prioritize families over organizations in your giving?
We do. We've set aside a little money for some organizations, and so we do organizations very near to our heart. We try to set a little funding aside in our fundraising process, but really we want to help families, right? So that's why we started it, and so we really aim at families in this process. We've already kind of cherry pick our organizations. We've already identified those organizations and donated before this kind of open grant process. So, we may get some organizations in this, but we're really aiming to get families and children that need support.
Do you pay directly to families, or do you do? So if they have back payments, gas to and from therapies, car repair, something like that they would need help with?
We do. Yeah, we would be, we're young, and maybe we're a young organization, and maybe we're not as well tuned and well fine to everything that has to happen, but we're welcome, families to submit what they need and what for, and we ask for the supporting documentation for the IRS purposes and things of that variety, but we do not require that the check has to be written to, let's say, the insurance companies or the medical device companies or anybody else. We do give funding directly to families if that's what's requested. So we'd love to help however we can.
Okay. And then the next portion is like their story, like we talked about. I'm going to ask, do you have a character count on it? Like, is there a minimum amount that they have to provide?
I do not know, Tammy. So like I said, I'm not sure. So
the reason I ask is with iTalk, I know we've gotten applications in the past that will be like, I saw a 2020 show and I hear iPads are great for kids with autism. Yeah. And that's all we get. And we're like, so we did put, I think we did a 250 character. you have to share something. You have to give us a little something.
Minimum or maximum? I'm sorry. Did you say minimum or maximum? Which one did you ask, Tammy?
Oh, minimum. We made it a minimum. We want to hear their story, but
I don't think we have a minimum, but I would say it absolutely enhances your application if your story is told well, right? We have gotten ones before that just, like you said, somebody needs X, and that's sort of harder when you're looking at all applications because you can't personally connect to the story if the story's not there, right? So yeah, we don't have a minimum, but I'm going to take a note here to tell our folks who control the website and application process, maybe that's a great idea to put a minimum on it. So.
Well, you'll see how it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
every organization, I think every application you get probably will metamorphose your organization a little bit. So the dollar amount that you're requesting, so is $10,000 the most that you would?
Yes, I mean, I guess you certainly could put more than that. We just don't have enough funding for that. I mean, our grant, the amount of money we'll grant out, we are trying to help a lot of folks. So I don't know that we would, if we got one request that was for all the amount of money we could grant this year, I think we would probably not do that. I'd have to check with our board just because our goal is to try to help as many families as we can as possible within reason. So we just put these in these buckets so that when we do get all the applications submitted, we can somewhat categorize them into lower dollar buckets or higher dollar buckets, and obviously higher dollar buckets are take up more funding. So those are challenging, but we recognize that the need is vast in the community. So we don't want people to feel bad for asking for more. We only have a small budget, so unfortunately we can't help everybody. That's the only problem we have.
Understand. You asked if you've received a grant before. Can you reapply? Like, is it an annual thing, or do you have to wait 3 years?
You can, and so Tammy, this is probably the best way to describe our homegrown foundation is we don't have a lot of standard check the box rules because we're so new, and so we asked this question just so we know, when we're trying to balance who we're going to grant. If we continue to give to one family, right, then we want to just be aware that may just come into our scoring process, although it's not formal, as it relates to when it comes to those limited funds, are we going to grant this family a funding another year? So we don't specifically exclude anybody. We just ask that just so we know. And the first year we started, to be honest, Tammy, I think we didn't have enough applications for the funding we had. So we sort of depends on how much fundraising we do and how many families we can that apply. And so I don't think there's any. I would encourage anybody, whether they got it last year or not. The need doesn't change year to year, right? From your individual family, it's not like all of a sudden all the bills from last year don't stop in this year. So we encourage people to apply. It's just part of our selection process to be aware of. Hey, we've continued to help this family, and maybe that means this year we need to help somebody else. And it's all qualitative more than it is quantitative.
Got it. Proof of insurance denial. So we mentioned maybe paying directly to parents. What if it is a car repair so they can get their child to therapy, or even just nowadays gas to put in their car to go to and from therapies?
Yeah, I think we just want, if there are medical claims, we end up getting a lot of medical requests by nature of kind of our community. So I think we just want to have support, maybe for IRS purposes too, but just in general have support that we tried to get insurance, and this is kind of what's left. It does not mean that we only do medical claims. That's not true. We'll evaluate each application based on their need, and so it's a broad. We just want to help people in the special needs community, and as we said, we just want to help kids achieve more. And so this section is related to if it's a medical claim, right? We just want to see that it was, we've tried all we could, and it's not covered. We've reached our limit, all those kind of things. We just want that proof. So we have it for our own purposes, and also just helps us make sure we're impacting folks that need the most as well.
And that makes sense. I think a lot of times families don't even realize things could be covered by their insurance. So right. Putting that out there, like says, at least have you tried? Have you looked into your benefits? Because I had a family tell me with Medicaid, you can get travel reimbursement, mileage at least, and a lot of them weren't aware of that. Incontinence products, pull-ups, and bed, those things can be covered by Medicaid. But iPads. We have families that are, you mentioned that I saw the Tobii Dynavox, which is a wonderful device. And that's been covered by insurance for years, but there can be quite a hefty copay or deductible that goes along with it. Now we're seeing companies that have realized that iPads with the protective case and the, the amplified speakers and all of that can be covered. And the nice thing, when you can get it covered by your insurance, you get a new piece of equipment every 5 years under their durable medical equipment. So I think when we try to guide families to look into your insurance, you're paying for it monthly or whatever, let's see what it's covering for you. So.
Yep. And Tammy, I'll give you an example for your audience. I'm a finance leader in healthcare. So I sort of know this space, sort of don't. And it's just because our healthcare system is just complex, and I have great insurance through my company, but I had to go through a benefit elevation process for our device, and that's, I don't know if it's typical. It was covered, but it wasn't covered as a tier 1 versus tier 2, right? Which has a different impact on my out of pocket. And so, here I am, a very knowledgeable leader in this industry, and I had to kind of teach myself how to do this for my own daughter, because I didn't know, and I have great insurance. And so it's just complicated, but we do ask, as you said, we just want to see that you've tried, and if it's related to something that insurance would be a part of.
Mm-hmm. You piqued my interest. I'm like, do you contact your families? Like, is it something that you, with your knowledge base, my thought is, oh my gosh, you would be a great resource to sit down with parents and talk about maybe verbiage that you need to use when you're applying, or helping the correct CPT code being put in correctly, or, I'm tingly here. I'm like, oh my gosh, you'd be a great resource for families.
I wish I was a better resource. It's, I'm glad to help people where I can. Mine was not that complicated. It was more just the DME vendor was a tier 2 versus tier 1, right? And there wasn't a tier 1 DME vendor in this space, so the elevation was to cover it as a tier 1 because there wasn't another tier 1 that we could go to, right? So in this DME space, I think it's Tobii, and I remember the other one. We don't have Tobii, I can't remember which one we have, but neither one of us tier 1, so it wasn't like if we had selected tier 1, we had better coverage. And I'm not an expert, but my point would be more that even as someone who's in the industry, it's complicated, right? And it's a challenge, and I can't imagine what families go through that don't have some knowledge, right? Because I have some knowledge, but it's still a very hard world to navigate. And so that's probably a topic for another day. I wish we had better resources there. But, I'm not sure I could solve that one with just my little knowledge. So,
okay. And then you ask for income. I'm guessing that's just kind of prioritizes them.
It is. We don't, like we said, we don't have a check the box. We don't have a sliding scale of, if you make too much money, you're not going to get approved. It's just, this is more qualitative as it relates to our, as you said, scoring. We just, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's really hard to take care of a special needs kid, and we don't want to restrict, but we also want to pay attention to those who need it the most. And so it just helps in our qualitative review of your application.
Okay, then how did you hear about Jiselle Lauren Foundation? I'm guessing, like most true nonprofits, you don't usually pay for marketing commercials. Are we going to see a commercial during the World Series tonight?
No. Yeah, we don't. Our fundraising, we're a mom and pop. No, we have no staff. It's just volunteer run by my wife and I, and it's very minimal stuff we have. So, unfortunately, we'd love to make it bigger, but we've got 3 children ourselves, and it's 3 children under 8. So it's we're doing the best we can to kind of go forward. But social media is about the only way that we, getting out there. We are doing some rebranding of our website, trying to get it a little fresher and a little bit simpler and things of that like, and making sure that if you search for our foundation or if you search for it, it is something that you get a hit on. But in general, we don't have any. That is one of our challenges, both on the fundraising side and the giving side. Our network is limited to a lot of family and friends over the last 3 or 4 years that we know, and then people that stumble upon us for various reasons, you know, on the internet. And so we're trying to do more things like this and just in general, so people know we need to do it on both sides, because if we don't get enough fundraising, we can't help as many people. But these are just generally so we kind of know where our folks are getting to us from. And we started, if you want to read some of our old documentation, we've started as an intent to help in Middle Tennessee, which is where we live. But, you know, we realized pretty quickly that there's plenty of need in Middle Tennessee, but there's plenty of need everywhere. And we didn't want to restrict ourselves to just Middle Tennessee. So we do get some from Middle Tennessee. We get some from all over. And you heard our first year, we got some from India. So you know, we don't discriminate. We don't choose. We don't narrow to a certain population. We just want to help people in this community that really need it.
That is wonderful. So any other information, supporting docs, you mark yes, but you've already attached them up top, I think is how it.
I think you actually
clicks on.
send it. I think you actually have to send it. So we don't actually have a place.
Oh, you don't upload. Okay. So I'm guessing it gives you an email address or whatever to send it to.
Yeah, right there. It says, please send to the
Oh.
grant at Jiselle Lauren Foundation.org. I don't think you got to attach it on your actual application. So you have to
Got
fill out the website, and then I don't think the website has the ability to retain a big, you know, PDF or attachment. So all you gotta do is just send it. Once you complete your application, send it to this July's email address we have.
Okay. And this, I am not a critique, but I was reading, what is this? Are you, if you, it
Looks
was,
like we have a typo there.
okay. And then there's an O over here at the end. But so it's, if you were awarded a grant, would you agree to allow them to share your story? So, and you.
In general, we love, as you can tell, to let people know our stories just for a lot of reasons. And so it's a yes or no question. Yeah.
I think this O here was meant to be the asterisk, which means it's a required answer.
We just revamped it 2 days ago.
I gotcha. No, this is, and see, this is what I want families to see. Like, this is truly another family that wants to help. Yeah. So
we're not web experts, but we had a company help us kind of rebrand and kind of redo the website. And this is actually sort of a temporary web page that we've got created until the full web page is ready. But we didn't want to slow down the grant process. So I'm going to talk to my wife when we get down here and say, hey, we got a couple of typos, and they'll get it fixed before hopefully anybody hears this. And
yes, it'll be good to go. You're fine.
But we are getting applications. So I will make the statement, we've already gotten applications. So it seems to be working, even though there are some typos. So if there are people out there, please don't hesitate or don't wait on any changes. Go ahead and certainly get your application.
Well, and I think you get the gist of what you're asking for here. So it's not, you know.
We're in the age of bad texting. We live in the age of bad texting. People can read through that, right?
Yes. Well, and autocorrect or I don't know. So yes. And so then you ask about other programs. So would you be like, when it talks about programs, I know here in Ohio with Bowling Green State University, we have a inclusion playground that is in the works. I mean, are you looking for things outside of Tennessee, or should I think this is kind of more your Middle Tennessee that you're kind of focusing on?
It might be more Middle Tennessee because that's where we live, but I don't know that it has to be. To your point, there's one in our hometown that they're trying to fundraise for an inclusive playground, right? So to your point, that's one we know about because that's where we live, right? And that would impact the special needs families in our community. So that's back to, you asked me if we help organizations. That's one we've got our eye on because it is in our community, and it would make sense to help them as they're trying to fundraise for this amazing inclusive playground. But it doesn't have to be limited to Middle Tennessee. I think it's just, as a new foundation, we don't know all the needs out there. So if you know something, please feel free to share it. I don't think there's, like I said, if you can't tell already, we don't have a very standard corporate process. This is just a mom and dad trying to help. And so it's very qualitative, not quantitative. Although there's quantitative information, it's mainly qualitative on the way we're going to make our selection.
Yeah. Well, here's your Facebook page, and that's how I reached out to you guys. That's one of the things I tell families, like if they have a question about what, would this be covered, that type of thing. I say, look at their website, creep them out, check out their website. If there's an email address or a phone number, Facebook I have good luck with, because it does seem like organizations that are volunteer run sometimes tap into the youth, whether it's a college or whatever, volunteer that's like, oh, I'll take your Facebook page, I'll update your, of whatever. And so they seem to I get replies quicker that way. And that's how I initially reached out. And then obviously you launched your grant. So you highlighted that on there.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. And I would make one comment. So we kind of truly on Facebook and social media announced that the application period is open, and we are going to hold it open until I think the 7th of November. But in general, what I would make a comment to anybody that's listening is that this is sort of for the fundraising we did in the last couple events where it's time we can actually make distributions. We're not going to actually, I don't think we're going to plan to close it down. So if somebody has a need 2 months from now, I think we're going to leave it open. It's kind of a rolling ability to apply, but it doesn't, we don't have an official open window except for right now, but I think we may leave it open just to see if there's some kind of rolling list of applicants that we can help. Maybe in 6 months, we can help if we have some extra funding. So just encourage your folks who are listening that this is a window for us to review kind of the funding that we raised over the last 12 months in our 2 events. And then, but the website will still have a landing page if you need to make a request. It's just, we don't have a definitive time of when we're going to distribute. So feel free to continue to apply throughout the year if you feel so called to.
Is your the Scramble for Smiles, is it always in September?
It was, I have to go back and look. It has been the last couple of years. I don't know. We're still working on our date for next year. We typically have a dinner. My wife spearheads the dinner, so more of a kind of
see that, the
cocktail fun in the first part of the year. And the second half of the year, we have a golf event. So those are our 2 events, and it'll probably still be in that fall, September, October for golfing. And the dinner will be, I think, slated for February. I may be blanking on that. So we typically, based on our ability to pull them off, we try to spread them out about 6 months apart, beginning of the year, end of year. One is truly just kind of a dinner and have a parents' night out and a silent auction. And the other one is where it really started my passion is I love playing golf. And so it's a day to go out and celebrate these kids and do a little fundraising at the same time.
Wonderful. Well, I think you answered all my questions that I had prior to this. You're very, I know you're new, so I can't wait to see what happens in 5 years' time, with you. And if we talked, it might be a little different. Your board might be a little bigger. I'm guessing as you grow, that will be. But did any of my guests have any questions that they would like to ask Bailey?
Not a question, just a hats off to Bailey, to you and your wife for this incredible work. And I'm laughing to myself as you were answering some of the questions. I'm thinking these will be some of my husband's responses too, saying I'd have to defer to my wife. So kudos to you for your awesome presentation and the beautiful work that you and your wife are doing. I'm a mom of a kid with cerebral palsy and some other things. So I live it, and I just want to thank you and your wife for coming up with this grassroots effort. It's awesome.
Thank you, Monica. Yeah, you got the B team, Tammy. You didn't get the A team, so.
Oh, no.
Most definitely got the A team.
Yes. And one of my pointers for families, when the father is the one that's sharing the story, I don't want to say they get more points, but it says a lot that, as moms, we're expected to be that caregiver that's going to look under every rock and everything. So when you see a good team, a team front, which is what it is when you have a child with special needs or you have children at all, it should be the whole family, the team effort. So you guys are doing great. So, well, I do want.
Please tell your wife we give you the gold star, okay? Please tell her.
She did TV this week, so she gets 2 gold stars. I get 1. So.
No. So, well, I do want to thank you, and I want to thank you, ladies, for joining us today on Friday instead of Wednesday. Next month's Grant Wednesday workshop will be on November 30th, and I'm going to butcher the name, but it's with the Tom Weinenbeck Foundation, and it'll be November 30th at noon. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.